Especially those classic Christmas stories. You know, Frosty, the Grinch, that kid who drummed at a newborn. But some of the most interesting Christmas stories haven't really gotten their due. So tonight, young Douglas said I could share one of my favorites that you probably haven't heard before. And what better way to share a story at Christmas than through song? You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. And of course, you know Rudolph. We know Rudolph's whole deal. But buckle up for the tale of the Reindeer O'Neill. O'Neill, this other reindeer, also worked for Santa Claus, the creator of Santa's flight plans. He guaranteed every Christmas Eve a safe takeoff. A scientist reindeer! Come on! Don't you love it already? Come on. All of the other reindeer tried to get O'Neill to hang, but he'd lie and say he was busy to avoid their fucking stupid fucking reindeer games. Yeah, reindeer games. O'Neill would rather have run into traffic. Santa's reindeer were so dumb they'd run into traffic all the time. And they could fly. But O'Neill, he was a genius by any man or reindeer standard. He would ace any test you gave him, but acing tests was easy, so he cheated for fun. Yeah, I don't know, cheating kind of became a hobby for O'Neill, and that's bad, blah, blah. He was a genius whose life didn't challenge him. You know, he tried to entertain himself in harmless ways. O'Neill taught himself the accordion. He cooked souffle, etouffee, and goose. He memorized every film on Criterion, and again, he taught himself accordion, even though he had hooves. I mean, he got creative in the pursuit of activities that would be harmless to others unless you're a goose. Because I think he knew he shouldn't let himself get bored. It would be irresponsible, because boredom, it's spiritual death to a genius. I mean, like, I so get that. But he was bored, and that got him lonely, and so he acted out. O'Neill got the elves into poker, and he'd always prank call Mrs. Claus. He organized a ring of chipmunk fights, and of course when he played poker, he would cheat. Oh my God, would that motherfucker cheat. He was complicated. And I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, how have I never heard of this fascinating reindeer? That's what you're thinking if you're normal like me. Yeah. And you know what? Let me cook for a second, because I've actually thought about this a lot. So maybe the reason that they didn't share his story is because he was kind of like a bad boy. But then I thought, Scrooge, the Grinch, Tim Allen, all Christmas bad boys whose stories we know. So what's the difference? The difference is a redemption arc. O'Neill never got one. And why is that? Maybe someone never gave him a chance. Maybe someone allowed him to screw around and waste his potential. Who could that be? Santa. O'Neill, he angered Santa. A man we all know lives to judge. You're either naughty or nice, and O'Neill paid the price. Santa Claus sent O'Neill packing, no, he wouldn't budge. Yeah, Santa Claus, Père Noël. Obviously jealous of O'Neill's intelligence, sent him away. Which is just such bullshit. And really, what do we expect? Who is Santa anyway, right? Like some guy who chooses to spend his immortal life doing what? Judging kids? Yeah, I'm drinking wine. All right, so where are we? Santa sends O'Neill away, and what happens 5 years later? 5 years later, Christmas is nearly ruined by a heavy fog. You know that story, Rudolph. Remember at the beginning of Rudolph? Rudolph, Santa is all skinny. You know what I'm talking about? Mrs. Claus is like, whoever heard of a skinny Santa? Yeah, he was skinny because he was stressed, because he sent away O'Neill. He banished his navigator. And for the next 5 years, Santa is risking his life, the reindeer's life, and the joy of every child on Earth, raw-dogging, flying the globe without a flight plan. Who's the real gambler? Oh, it feels so good to talk about this. Thank you. Oh, you want to know what happened to O'Neill, right? Here's the end of O'Neill. O'Neill, he moved to Ireland, got a house, a pub, and a wife by the sea. And if I didn't sing about him, his story would forever be a myth.